Attention passionate Montreal, Canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Montreal CANADINS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. I've got some intriguing NHL news that could really change the landscape of the Atlantic Division. And of course, it involves none other than our beloved Montreal Canadiens. You see, there's a lot of buzz around the league about a potential trade target that could reshape the second-line center situation not just for the Canadiens, but for other teams as well. And the name on everyone's radar right now is Pavel Zacha, the 28-year-old forward currently playing for the Boston Bruins. This isn't just some rumor, folks. It's a story that's gaining traction across the league, and it's worth diving deep into what it all means for Montreal and the NHL as a whole. So what's the story? Well, according to a report from James Murphy of RG Media published on September 11, the Boston Bruins are not actively shopping Zacha, but that doesn't mean they're not listening to offers. And when you think about the context of the NHL trade market, especially in the early days of the season, that's a big deal. Teams are always looking to improve, and if the Bruins find themselves in a tough spot, say a slow start or some injuries, they might be more inclined to make a move. Now, Murphy's sources say that several teams have inquired about Zacha, including the Montreal Canadiens and the Calgary Flames. Interestingly, the Canadiens are among the most interested, and they've already made some offers, which shows that they're serious about addressing their second-line center spot. But before we get into the specifics of what Montreal might be offering, let's talk about Zacha himself. This guy has been a solid player for the Bruins, really showing some versatility and skill. He's entering his third year of a 4-year, $19 million contract, which makes him a pretty attractive option for teams looking for a reliable middle six forward. His skill set is well suited for the Canadiens' needs. He's capable of playing both at even strength and on the power play, and he's shown that he can produce when given the opportunity. The Canadiens, of course, have been searching for a consistent second-line center all summer long, especially after the injury issues they've had with Kirby Dach. Dach has been a promising player, but his injury history raises red flags, and Montreal needs stability in that position if they're serious about making a playoff push this year. Now, here's where things get interesting. The Canadiens, according to Murphy's report, have already made an offer for Zacha. They're willing to part with prospects like Joshua Roy and Oliver Kapanen, both of whom have shown promise in their young careers. Roy, in particular, has been highly touted as a future top-six winger, and Kapanen brings some speed and offensive upside. There's also talk about Jayden Struble being part of the package. Struble has impressed many with his size, skating, and hockey IQ, and he's definitely a name that the Bruins would consider in any deal. But here's the catch. Sources say that these prospects alone might not be enough to get Zacha out of Boston. The Bruins are in a position where they want to get fair value, and they're unlikely to just give him away for a couple of prospects. This means the Canadiens might have to dig deeper and include some higher draft picks or more established assets if they want to land Zacha. The league chatter suggests that the Bruins are looking for more than just prospects. They want something that can help them now, especially if they're facing adversity early in the season. And let's not forget, the trade deadline is still months away, so teams like Boston might hold on to Zacha until they see how the season unfolds. If Boston struggles out of the gate, mid-December could be a real turning point. That's when the floodgates could open, and we might see a flurry of trades, including Zacha potentially heading to Montreal. Now, why is this such a big deal for the Canadiens? Well, first, it directly addresses their need for a reliable second-line center. Kirby Dach has been promising, but his injury concerns and inconsistent production have left the Canadiens looking for more stability behind their top guys. Zacha could provide that stability, giving head coach Martin St. Louis an additional weapon down the middle. Plus, his versatility means he can slot in comfortably on the second line, maybe even moving around depending on matchups and team needs. For Montreal, acquiring Zacha isn't just about filling a roster spot, It's about gaining a player who can contribute immediately and help propel them into playoff contention. And let's take a quick look at Montreal's recent season. The Canadiens, coming off a playoff appearance last year, are very optimistic about their prospects this season. They believe that with some smart additions, they can push for a spot in the postseason again. The team has some exciting young talent like Cole Caulfield and Juraj Slavkovsky, but they also know that playoff runs are built on depth and experience, especially in the middle of the ice. That's why a player like Zacha, with his NHL experience and proven production, could be the perfect piece to push them over the edge. Of course, the Canadiens aren't just looking to make a splash for the sake of it. They're strategic. They know the value of draft picks and prospects in building a winning team, but they also understand that to compete with the best, they need to add proven NHL talent. Zacha fits that bill perfectly, and with the team's recent history and their current roster needs, it makes perfect sense that Montreal would be willing to make a significant offer to bring him in. The question is, how much are they willing to spend? Will they include Roy, Kapanen, and Struble? Or will they need to throw in a high draft pick? That's the million-dollar question right now. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Bruins are in a tricky spot. They're not actively shopping Zacha, but they're also not opposed to listening if the right offer comes along. The general manager, Don Sweeney, has made it clear that he's doing his due diligence, but he's also cautious. He doesn't want to rush into a trade unless the deal makes sense for the long-term goals of the team. The Bruins are still a team that's trying to find its footing, especially after some tough losses early in the season, and they're hoping their core players like Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and David Pastrnak can turn things around. But if things dominoes, and Boston finds themselves outside of playoff contention by mid-December, then we could see a major shakeup, with Zacha possibly heading to Montreal or another contender. What makes this whole situation even more compelling is the broader context of the league right now. The NHL trade market is always fluid, especially as teams evaluate their roster needs and look ahead to the trade deadline. Montreal, with its young core and recent playoff success, is clearly in the market for a second-line center. They've been searching all summer, trying to find that reliable piece to support Caulfield and Slavkovsky. Zacha could be that guy, but the price is going to be high. The Canadiens are known for their smart, strategic moves, and it's likely they'll have to part with some significant assets to get him. And let's not forget the importance of timing. The trade freeze around Christmas means that if Montreal wants Zacha, they need to act before that, ideally before American Thanksgiving, as some sources suggest. If Boston struggles early, the window might open sooner rather than later. The Canadiens have to weigh their options carefully. Do they wait and see, or do they push all in now? Given their playoff ambitions and the recent progress, I think most fans would agree they'd prefer to strike sooner rather than later. In summary, this situation with Pavel Zacha is shaping up to be one of the most interesting developments of the early NHL season, especially for us Canadiens fans. It's a chess game involving multiple teams, and Montreal's willingness to make a bold move could be what pushes them into serious playoff contention. The potential acquisition of Zacha would send a message that the Canadiens are serious about competing now, not just rebuilding. They want to be in the mix, and with the right assets, they could land a player who makes an immediate impact. Whether that happens or not, it's a story that's worth watching closely in the coming weeks. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Montreal Canadiens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So folks, what does all this mean for the Canadiens? Well, it's clear they're serious about making a splash and addressing their needs at center. They've got the assets, they've shown interest, and now it's a matter of negotiations and timing. If they can pull off this trade, it could be a game changer. Imagine a line with Caulfield, Zacha, and Slavkovsky. Think about the offensive firepower, the depth, the balance. It could really elevate Montreal's game and give them a real shot at competing with the best in the league. And for the Bruins, it's a matter of assessing their situation and deciding if they want to move Zacha for the right price. It's always a balancing act, trying to improve while not giving up too much. But in the NHL, these moves happen fast, and the season's early struggles can often set the tone for what's to come. If Boston decides to hold on to Zacha, it could be a strategic move, waiting to see how the season unfolds. But if the pressure mounts and they see the opportunity to rebuild or retool, we could see a major trade that shakes up the division. So, Canadiens fans, this is a story that's still unfolding. The potential acquisition of Pavel Zacha is more than just a rumor. It's a real possibility that could impact the team's direction for years to come. It's an exciting time to be a Canadiens supporter, and I can't wait to see how it all develops. Whether or not this deal happens, it's clear that the Canadiens are in the market for a second-line center, and Zacha might just be the perfect fit if the price is right. Keep your eyes on this story, because it's going to be one of the hottest topics in the NHL over the next few weeks. And now, Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Canadiens should go all in for Zacha? Or do you believe they should wait and see how the season plays out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us, and it's what makes this community great. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more insights, and more news about your beloved Canadiens. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, let's keep supporting our team through thick and thin. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, go Canadiens.